Hey y'all, this is your boy CJ. I'm here to do another video. This video is another testimony. Um, I was working for Department Correction for a number of years, and I went, but every day before I go to work, I will always go to the park and do my daily walk. I will always walk almost two 2 miles a day. So this day I walked through the whole park. It was a pretty large park. So I walked through the park and I came back and sit in my car. And when I sit in my car, I let my seat back and cracked my window and I fell asleep. And I felt somebody at the window looking at me while I sleep. So when I wake up, I'm like, "What are you doing there?" He's like, "Oh, Mr. J, you better be glad that I like you, cause if not, I would have cut your throat." I'm like, "For what?" He said, "All the guys at the facility don't like you, but they respect you because you do your job. You don't have no favoritism with none of the inmates." I say, "Hey, that's how I do it." So he said, "That's why come I didn't do anything to you because of that reason." Okay, so we goes on and about maybe a couple months or maybe a couple weeks or a couple months later, they put me on a night shift. They, they put me on the night shift and an overnight shift, and I worked the facility by myself. Now remember, the inmate who come out of prison and they come to the halfway house to do a certain amount of time before they be released from prison. So that night I went to work and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't like night shift work overnight. So when I came in, stayed up a long time. Then right around 12 o'clock, I started getting sleepy. And before you know it, I had fell asleep at the front desk. Now the facility had like a number of beds enough for the inmates, so they had access to come out of the room, come up to the front of the counter with no bars or nothing. That they can walk up to the counter and literally see you or touch you if they wanted to. So this particular night, I fell asleep and I uh I fell asleep. So about a couple of days later, they came to me. They say, "Oh, Mr. Johnson, we came down to the front desk last night. You was asleep." And I'm like, "Oh, we didn't do nothing to you." Say we weren't gonna let anybody do anything to you. So I'm kind of like, cause when I work with them, I was very strict. I didn't play game with them at no cost at all. I didn't play game with them because they're inmate. I would always tell them, that I didn't put you in here. You put yourself in here. So don't get mad with me because you in here because I could be where you at tomorrow. That don't mean because I'm working today on this side of the desk. Tomorrow I can be in prison doing what you are doing. I say, but because I didn't do it, hey, I'm not doing my job. But my point is that when he said to me, I could have cut your throat, or when they said we didn't let anybody do anything to you, well, they thought it was in their power, but actually it was in the power of the Lord watching over me that didn't let them do what the devil wanted them to do to me because it wasn't in their power to do anything to me, but it was in the power of the Lord. If He had released it, it would have happened. But you know how inmates are. They could have did me in. Nobody would have known, at least for that period of time, nobody would have known, nobody would I would just been a dead person, a dead staff member. So, 'cause whenever the guys in prison get a chance to do something to the staff, they'll do it. I don't care who they are, they would do it. So I uh I think but at that time I didn't know I knew the Lord, but I didn't know what I know now. Like look back over my life, I look at it as He been watching over me for a long period of time, and He always been watching over me for a long period of time, and that's what. And so that particular night, that particular morning, He was with me, looking over me all the way. So it was so that is my testimony for that one. I got another one that when I was a boy, I used to take my dog and walk down the railroad track for miles and miles. So this particular day, I walked on the railroad track and there was a pond of water on the side of the railroad track, and I had some friends who would go in and swim in the water. So when I got up to them, they said, hey, CJ, jump in, jump in. I'm like, man, I said, I can't swim. I said, oh, don't worry about it. We'll save you. I'm kind of like, no, I can't swim. So then they say, jump in, we'll save you. So some kind of way, I ended up jumping in the pool. I ended up jumping in the water. So I went down, I came back up, and I didn't know what to do. So I could have easily drowned, but then one of them said, move your, wave your hands and move your feet around. So I thought, wave my hand, move my feet around, pedal my feet, and I were able to come onto the bench. And from that day forward, I've been learning how to swim. But I could have easily got grounded easily because I didn't know how to swim. And I jumped in the water like I know what I was doing, but I should know better. But I didn't. I jumped in that water and the hit you. Everything was just a matter of them wanting to see me get out and not be bad and not be mean to me or whatever. Because when I was little, I was kind of I was easy to get along with, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't take anything from anybody. I didn't. You want to fight, we'll fight. If you want to, whatever you want to do, we can do it. And I don't care who with you, how many people with you. That's what we're gonna do. I didn't get intimidated by you and a couple of your buddies, and I'm the only one there. No, if you want to fight, we'll fight all your buddies together, cause that's the kind of person that I was, and they knew that. So they they didn't want to challenge me that way. But my point is, they could have either let me die off, and it would have been over with because I should have never jumped into that pool that ton of water. I should never because just something that I should never have done. But that does to show you how the Lord watches over you. He watch over me. He watch over you too. So if you go back and look at your past life, you'll see where the Lord was in control of your life and he allowed those around you to not to bother you, not to do any harm to you. And only because how he operate with how he operate with his believers, the one who believe in him. He knew because all we have believed in the Lord have always now have not always been good, have not always been bad, but there have been some bad times in my life where I could have. either went to prison, either got killed, or anything like that because of the kind of life that I was living. My grandma raised me the right way, but at some point I went over to the left or to the right, and the Bible say that raise up a child the way that he should grow. Then when he get old, he would not depart from it. But I never forgot that. I always remember that. So no matter how I got off and got into some bad trouble. Not no real, but not. I got into some trouble sometime, not all time, but more than enough. But I was able to stay out of prison. I was able to keep my life because of the goodness of the Lord, and I really appreciate Him for it. I think about it. I think about it all the time. And I look back on it, and so this morning I was laying in bed and I was thinking about it. I said, "Oh, that'd be a good testimony right there." I mean, it's a good testimony. And I was so bad sometime, then like the mind about fighting in a minute, that when in 1969, when they integrated the school, they shipped us from the school from where we living to a school about 10 miles away from where I was living. And when the bus pulled up, one of the girls, one of the white girls stepped out. I mean, one white girl came up to the bus when we stepped onto the campus, the schoolyard. She walked up. She said, "Oh, my boyfriend can beat anybody." I say, "Girl, your boyfriend gonna get beat down." And she said, "Oh, I'm gonna go tell him." I said, "Well, come on, I'm gonna go with you to tell him." So we go up there and we meet him halfway. She say, "Oh, he said that he could what he'll do to you." I said, "Yep." I said, "That's exactly what I'm gonna do to you." And he like stood in front of me. He tried to kick me, then I grabbed his foot. I swung him around. I started beating on him, and the rest of the kids off the bus started beating on the other white kid in the school campus. And it, it got so bad to they canceled the football game because all the kids uh, they were broken up and scarred up from the beating that the black kids had done to them on that day. And he called me. He say, "Oh, yeah, I can call the police and have you put in jail." I said, "Call them. I don't care. Call them." He said, "Cause he said, cause you can't come over here and do that." Man, where I was happy. I didn't want to come in the first place. He said, but the point is that the decision made to shut your school down and you had to be shipped over here and y'all need to come over here and get along. So I'm kind of like, well, hey, I didn't want to come in the first place. So then we goes on, and one day I was walking from, cause I didn't catch it, but I always walked home. I always walked home, which about 5 or 6 miles, maybe a little longer. So this particular day, I walked home and the police pulled me over at the 7-Eleven. He said, hey, boy, where you going? I said, I'm going home. He like, he was talking to me, and he was talking to me. It was a about four white girls driving a, a Jeep wagon. They saw him talking to me, so they pulled over and asked him and say, "What are you doing to my friend?" The police said, "Oh, you know him?" She said, "Yeah, he our friend. He go to our school." And he said, "Okay, you can go." So when I started walking off, they say, "Well, uh, come on, get in. We'll take you home." I said, "Girl," I said, I said, I know you don't think I'm going to get in the car with no four white girls and riding down the street, going home, going nowhere. Thank you. I will walk home. And that's what I did. I walked home because I knew get in the car with them back in those days. It was it wasn't like in the 50s or the 60s, but it was back in those days. It was like the early 70 or 80, 70. I know that getting in the car with a white girl, and these were the cheerleader of the school. All of them were cheerleaders. All of them were cheerleaders. I'm kind of like, no, no, thank you. I walked, so I walked on home, and everything was everything was good. But those are some of the things that happened to me, and the Lord watched over me when I make the decision to make the decision not to do it. Not when He talk to you, you got to listen and you do what he tells you to do, and everything will be all right because he knows what you don't know. He can see what you can't see, but he knows what's on the he knows what's around the curve what you don't know. So, but he telling you, he warning you, don't do this, don't do that, and I listen both times because I know that I didn't have. I know that my life would have been in deep trouble, even though they were white girls, but the white men's and the white police officers didn't like the idea of a black man hanging out with white girls. Now, out here it'd be a little different, but back there it was a whole lot different, a whole lot different. I mean, we couldn't even go across the railroad track because of the problem that could occur if we get caught over on the other side of the railroad track. Now, I wasn't scared. I would go anywhere, and I did, but eh, thank be to God that who was with me, that I was able to be safe, and He kept them away from me because He knew me. He knew that I would not back down. He knew me. So thank the Lord for knowing me and keeping me calm and collected and keep me from getting in the trouble because I could have easily got in trouble because I don't. I mean, I was one of them kind that you can talk to, and I'm not going to talk back to you, or you want to fight, I'm not going to fight back. I'm not going to fight you back. I mean, I always had that fighting power in me, but at the same time, my life was could have been in danger a whole lot of time, but I ended up making it. So that that the other uh, testimony. So I'm getting ready to shut it down, and may may the Lord bless you and your family. May you pray for others, pray for the world, pray for your sister, your brother, your mama, your daddy, your friends, your neighbors. Pray, stay in prayer all the time because it's help, it's help, it's help. And you can't go wrong when you do that. God is always listening. You may not think He listens, but He is listening because you are praying to Him. So He listens because you are praying to Him. He's not gonna that turn His ears off because you praying to Him, because you praying to Him. So therefore, He is listening. Just because you don't think that He listens, that don't mean that He's not listening. He always listens to your prayers, and He's gonna answer your prayers when He get ready, not when you get ready, but when He get ready. Because this is kind of God we serve. So in the meantime, you gotta take care, and I'll see you on the next video later.